Okay, part 2. You're getting to some parts because I got interrupted. So, order Crocodilia. So, these are the crocodiles. They spend most of the time in water. They can come up on land, especially to regulate their body temperature. Well, then I gotta turn the page because that picture was a snake skin, and I don't want to sit there and see that. They do lay their eggs on land. They have a muscular body with scutes, eyes and nostrils on the top of their head, a four-chambered heart, which I think this is the first organism we've gotten to with a four-chambered heart. And what's interesting is that the temperature where they lay their eggs, that will determine if the eggs are male or female. So I thought that was interesting. Order Spinodotia. The tuateras are the only living species. So there's some extinct species, but these are the only living ones. The difference between them and a lizard is they have spines all the way to their tail. They have 2 rows of teeth in their upper jaw and just 1 on their lower, and they fit together. The lower teeth fit right in between the 2 upper row teeth. And they have that pineal eye just like something else. I don't remember. A jawless fish. And that helps it to know the season and what time of day it is. Okay. Order Squamata. This is the lizards and snakes. They have scales on their skin. Both jaws don't move, so only one jaw moves. And they are oviparous, which means they lay eggs. Lizards have legs and eyelids and external ears, unlike snakes that do not. Snakes obviously don't have legs because they're cursed. Sorry, I don't like snakes. They don't have eyelids, they don't have external ears, but lizards have those things. Lizards are carnivores, and what's cool is they can change color to defend themselves. Snakes slither. There's 4 different ways, and it shows you the 4 different ways. If we were a younger class, we would get out and actually do all the fun different ways. I've done that with my kids before, not high schoolers, don't worry. They are carnivorous. They swallow their prey whole. There are both venomous and constrictor snakes. And the book, so what the book does for each of these groups is it talks about 1 or 2 specific animals. So I'm giving you like this huge overview and hitting on some main points of each group. And then when you read through, it kind of takes 1 or 2 of the animals and talks through that specific animal. And so that gives you just a little bit more detail on it. But I'm not going through every detail. That's why you're also going to read the book. So you do still have to read the chapter 2. This isn't one of those where I'm giving you all the information in the lecture. This is to give you a broad overview. Yes? No. So, okay. And snakes have chemoreceptors. So, chemical receptor, they receive things, right? Chemoreceptor on their tongues that help them to be able to smell. Okay. And then the 4th order is order Testudines, which these are turtles, tortoises, and terrapins. So they have a shell made of keratin that is literally part of their body. It is like grows from their body. Their shells can't be taken off, like a mussel or a hermit crab or something like that, where the shell can come off the animal. The shell grows as part of these animals. The carapace is the top and the plastron is the bottom. Okay, so normally lungs work by you have your diaphragm here. I should put it where you can see it. And your diaphragm lowers, which means that there's an air pressure difference between inside and outside, so air comes into your lungs fill up, then your diaphragm comes back up, and it pushes the air back out, okay? And the air then has to go from inside to outside. Well, so if you've taken a deep breath, you can feel your stomach move out, right? So if you sit there and go, and you can literally feel your body fill with air and release the air. When I used to play the clarinet, they would have us like fill our lungs with air because you couldn't just breathe constantly. You'd take in big breaths of air to then play out. Okay, so, but if you have a shell, because you're a tortoise or a turtle or a terrapin, you can't do that. You can't make that cavity, that emptiness, to have the air pressure do the work there. So what they do is they can rearrange their internal organs, and then they're able to pull their appendages, their legs, in and out to create that space for the lungs to expand. Okay? They do not have teeth, but they do have sharp jaws. So the difference between these is where they live. Turtles live mostly in water, terrapins live half and half, and tortoises live on land. So turtles land, I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Turtles water, tortoises land, terrapins half and half. Turtles water, tortoises land, terrapins half and half. Maybe I got it right this time. Okay, next are birds, class Aves. So birds are endothermic. This is our first group that's endothermic, which means they regulate their own body temperature. However, birds have a high metabolic need. They need to be able to fly, and that takes a lot of energy. So they have to produce a lot of energy. So they eat a lot. That helps them produce a lot of energy. Their endoskeleton has hollow bones so that they're lighter and can fly. They have 4 appendages. The front 2 are either wings or flippers, depending on if they fly or don't fly, right? Well, I guess not that. Depending on if they fly or are in the water. Some flightless birds still have wings in the front, like ostriches. They don't have flippers. The back 2 are specialized feet, and those feet can vary based on the type of bird that you are. They have a 4-chambered heart. They have unidirectional respiration. So this I thought was really interesting. I don't remember learning about this, and I've done the birds book for the Apologia Birds book with my kids. I mean, maybe I learned this and just don't remember. So there's a picture on page 336. And basically, let's see if I can turn it around. So you have the lungs, and you have air sacs here, and you have air sacs up here. So these air sacs fill with like oxygen-rich blood, oxygen-rich air. Then it goes in here, and then the oxygen-poor air goes here and out. So that it only goes one direction. Whereas ours we don't have these extra sacs. So it comes in, it fills the lungs, and goes out. But this allows them to get more oxygen from the air. And that's all needed for respiration to make energy. Remember, ATP is our energy source, and we require a lot of oxygen to do that. Okay. Their digestive system. They have a crop, which is used for storing food, and they have a gizzard, which grinds up food. Remember when we did the earthworm dissection, you saw the gizzard. Their bill has an upper and lower jaw that are covered in keratin. Their bills can vary greatly based on basically what they eat, the need of that bill. So, they are oviparous. They have a hard shell, amniotic eggs. They often incubate their eggs. So if you ever want to grow, like you've ever seen anybody grow chicken eggs into chickens. Yeah, I always forget, we don't think about that. But you can grow your chicken eggs and you can incubate them. They have like little incubators. The chickens themselves can incubate the eggs, but you can also incubate them in an incubator. Plumage, that's all the feathers. And the feather design is quite interesting. On page 338, there's a picture of a feather and shows you some of the parts of a feather. And it does talk in here about dissecting a feather. I think we have some people that have chickens that could probably get us some feathers to dissect if we decide we can do that one day. Okay, so there's flightless birds. There's about 60 species that are flightless. They use their wings to help them balance as they run, and these would be like ostriches or the kiwi bird, not the kiwi fruit. Then there's flying birds, there's raptors, songbirds, waterfowl are kind of 3 main areas. And the book does go through and talk about each of those a little bit and give you some. They take examples of each type and tell you about them. Because as I was going through this, I'm like, Kate, I wish we could just do a zoology course. There's so much interesting information on animals. But the reality is we can't. We just have to do the survey because that's what this course is. And I mean, I think I've told you guys this, like college biology wouldn't even get into all the animals really. They stick mostly with the stuff we did at the beginning, the genetics and the cellular respiration. Obviously a little more in depth than we did, but a lot of that stuff is college biology. But we're trying to give you a wide overview of biology for number one, so you have basic knowledge that you need as a human being, but also so you can see if that is something you would want to explore more in depth based on different areas. Okay, the third grouping is mammals, which we are classified as a mammal. Mammals are endothermic. We regulate our own body temperature. We have hair with keratin. So you've noticed like pretty much all along, everybody has keratin somewhere. We have it in our hair. We have complex brains with a cerebrum, cerebellum, and a brainstem. We have an endoskeleton with a single bone for the lower jaw. We have external ears that move. We have well-developed lungs. Viviparous with a placenta, which means that the babies stay inside mom until they are born. Mostly, there is an exception. And we have mammary glands and lactate, and so we can feed young. So, two orders it talks about are monotremes, which is the duck-billed platypus. Yes, a platypus. And a echidna. They lay eggs. Okay, so I thought this was really interesting. I don't know that I ever knew this. So they do make milk. However, they don't have any nipples for babies to get the milk from. So the milk goes into their fur. They just have a gland that releases the milk into their fur, and the babies just lap it up from their fur. So I thought that was really interesting. And the marsupials, which are of course kangaroos, koalas, possums, and wallabies, they have that pouch. And then you have the rest, which are placental mammals, which have a placenta, which is where all the nutrients come from mom. That placenta is attached to the baby via an umbilical cord at their belly button. And that placenta provides all the nutrients for the baby while the baby is growing inside mom. And that is most mammal organisms have placentas. And then it goes through and talks a little bit more about cats and dolphins. So there's a wide range there. And then it has its challenges for evolution section. Okay, so that is a very broad, fast overview. Make sure you watch both videos of chapter 11. So make sure you read it too.